Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive.
Today we're going to be getting smarter about trading. Literally.
We are diving into Perry J. Kaufman's book, Smarter Trading.
Oh,
We've
wow.
got the preface, we've got chapter 1 all laid out.
Even got some visuals from the book itself.
Nice.
Just to give you kind of like that extra layer.
I like it.
But yeah, we're really trying to get a feel for how to improve trading.
Especially nowadays.
Especially, yeah.
Markets are changing so fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kaufman gets right to it.
Like right off the bat, he says, that winning strategy you've got,
Oh, yeah.
it might not last.
Yeah.
Just straight up, he's like, even successful systems, they've got an expiration date.
Like they can go stale. Right. Why is that? Why would a system go stale?
Well, the markets are constantly in motion, right?
Think about like if you were building a skyscraper
Okay.
and it's got this tiny little foundation.
Cool things at risk, right?
Yeah.
But Kaufman says we need to be building our strategies more like a skyscraper with like tons of support underneath it, able to handle whatever, shakes things up.
Right. So it's almost like building in adaptability from the start.
Exactly. He calls these lateral solutions.
I like that.
Yeah.
So are you saying we should like ditch the hunt for the Holy Grail indicator?
Pretty much, yeah, because markets are way more complex than that.
Oh, speaking of complex.
Kaufman doesn't shy away from the big picture stuff.
Oh, no, not at all.
Like China, they're on the rise. Europe's economy,
Right.
a little shaky right now.
How's any trader, even a smart one, supposed to keep up with all that?
Well, and that's where I think Kaufman gets really interesting.
He's basically saying those old school tactics, those old school strategies, they might not cut it anymore.
Right.
The whole playing field is different.
So what worked maybe a few years ago could be, totally useless now.
It's like using a map from the 1800s to navigate a city today.
Exactly.
Some landmarks might still be there.
But good luck finding your way around.
Yeah, you'll be hopelessly lost.
Totally.
And that leads us, I think, to like the heart of trading.
Okay.
Fundamentals and technicals.
Okay, so Kaufman, he makes it clear.
They're non-negotiables, right?
Yeah.
Supply and demand.
Yeah.
All the basics.
They're always going to be moving those prices.
But then he gets kind of skeptical, and I thought this was interesting, of this like really intricate fundamental analysis.
Especially those super complex models.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of counterintuitive, right?
Yeah, it is, because those traditional methods, while very thorough,
They often are aiming for like this pinpoint accuracy on price levels.
and the thing is, markets are inherently risky.
They don't always follow that nice, neat script.
Yeah, they don't.
It's like trying to guess where a leaf is going to land
Exactly.
when it falls off a tree. You know what I mean? There's wind, there's other leaves.
Maybe a squirrel will come and grab it.
Right. You can make some educated guesses.
But there's just too many unpredictable factors.
Right.
And this is where I think his example about the soybeans comes in.
He talks about this like sophisticated model that was designed to like forecast soybean prices.
Right.
It was incorporating all these different variables, all these different data points.
Yeah, all that brain power.
All that brain power.
And even with all that, there was still this huge margin of error.
There was, yeah.
And that's the point, I think.
Even the smartest fundamental models can have blind spots,
They can tell you where the price should be.
but not necessarily where it will be.
Right.
And they certainly can't predict those like black swan events that come out of nowhere and just throw everything off.
Right, like those things that no one sees coming.
Exactly.
So if relying solely on fundamental analysis is like predicting that leaf's journey.
Where do we go from there?
Right.
Enter technical analysis.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention technical analysis.
Because I was like flipping through the book earlier.
Yeah.
And I noticed Kaufman. He talks about some pretty cool technical tools.
Removing averages, oscillators, that kind of thing.
No, cool.
It's like he's got this whole toolkit.
For navigating these markets.
Right, and he sees it as like...
It's not about ditching fundamentals completely.
No, absolutely not. It's
done.
about...
Yeah,
It's about bringing them into the real world.
It's like that bridge between understanding like why prices move.
And knowing when to act.
Okay.
So it's not like fundamentals versus technicals.
No.
It's more like they're on the same team or something.
Exactly.
Think of it like this. You're using a map app
Yep.
to get around a city, right?
Right.
Fundamentals are like knowing the city's layout.
Like where the main streets are,
Right.
which areas are residential, which areas are commercial, that kind of thing.
Right.
Okay.
And technical analysis.
Yeah.
It's like getting those real-time traffic updates.
Okay.
Seeing where the construction is, maybe finding a shortcut.
Right. So you get like an extra layer,
Exact.
kind of awareness.
To make those smarter decisions.
Yes, exactly. And like any good toolkit, Kaufman, He's got his favorites.
He talks about using moving averages to
Yeah.
spot trends, especially back in the 80s.
I bet you could tell a lot from those back then.
Oh, you could.
And then there's the stochastic oscillator.
Which measures momentum,
Like how strong is this price move?
Okay.
And then for getting a sense of like, is the whole market moving or is it just a few stocks?
He likes advanced decline indicators.
So it's about combining those different tools
It is.
to get that more complete picture.
Yeah, and, it's not just about what's happening right now.
It's about where things might be headed.
Right.
But even with all of this,
Yeah.
Kaufman drops, kind of, another bombshell.
Does he?
He does. He says that. Even trading systems.
They can become obsolete.
Really? How is that even possible?
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, how much the world has changed.
Even in the last decade, I mean,
That's true.
globalization, for example.
That's thrown a wrench into a lot of those traditional economic relationships. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
right.
He talks about how seasonal patterns, which used to be like clockwork.
They're becoming less reliable.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's like those classic trading strategies
Right.
banked on,
Buying heating oil in the fall and selling it in the spring. But now, with global energy markets,
And the weather being kind of crazy.
unpredictable.
Yeah.
It's a whole new ballgame.
It is. And then you also have the fact that
As markets mature, like the U.S. stock market,
they tend to get more crowded.
right?
They get more complex. There's all these different players now, from institutional investors.
To like day traders, to algorithms.
Yeah, you've got all these algorithms running around in there.
Creating all this noise.
Yeah, like trying to have a conversation
It is, yeah.
in a crowded room.
You can barely hear yourself think.
Exactly, on all that noise.
It makes those classic trend-following strategies.
A lot less effective.
Wow, because those trends aren't as clear.
They're not as clear.
And they're not as kind of sustained as they used to be.
Right, because
like,
everybody jumping in.
Yeah, it's like that leaf caught in, like a whirlwind now,
Oh, I like that.
bouncing up and down with every gust of wind.
So,
For someone who's trying to kind of like
navigate all
this,
right.
this constantly changing market,
Right.
how do we adapt? Where do we even begin?
Well, I think Kaufman would say it starts with kind of like,
Shifting your mindset.
okay,
It's not enough to just have like a good strategy.
you've got to build a system that can like roll with the punches.
Right.
It's less about like predicting the future.
And more about being prepared for anything.
Okay.
Okay.
It's more like that skyscraper with multiple foundations.
Exactly.
Solid, no matter what the market throws at it.
Okay.
And a big part of that.
Is understanding and managing risk.
Right. That makes sense. This is something he keeps coming back to.
He's not just talking about like avoiding losses.
He's talking about actively controlling.
Your exposure to the unknown.
Right. So you could have like the best trading strategy in the world.
You could,
Yeah.
if you're not managing risk,
Yeah.
one market hiccup and you're done.
It's like knowing how to drive a car,
Okay.
but like never wearing your seatbelt.
Oh.
You might be great behind the wheel.
Right.
But one fender bender and it's game over.
Yeah. No, that's a risk I'm not willing to take.
So how do we buckle up our trading strategies,
Right.
so to speak?
He dives into specifics later in the book. He
Okay.
talks about things like position sizing, stop loss orders.
Diversifying your portfolio.
But I think the overarching theme is
Yeah.
having a solid trading plan.
So more than just winging it.
Way more than winging it.
He's talking about like a detailed roadmap.
That outlines your risk tolerance,
Okay.
your entry and exit points for trades.
What you ultimately want to achieve.
Okay.
It's like having a GPS for
Yeah.
your trading journey.
I like that.
That's a good analogy.
It helps you stay on track even when the road gets bumpy.
So it's about having that strategy and
Yeah.
sticking to it.
It is. And just like,
You would update your GPS software, right?
yeah,
You need to be constantly evaluating.
and adjusting your trading plan as you learn and grow.
This has been really interesting.
Smarter trading. It's definitely going on my must-read list.
It's a good one.
Thanks for kind of guiding us through it.
Oh, of course. Happy to do it.
Yeah, your insights have been really, really helpful.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that. It's a book that really makes you think differently about trading.
It does.
And I think that's always a good thing.
Absolutely. And, yeah, listeners,
Markets might be unpredictable,
that's true.
but your approach to trading,
It doesn't have to be.
there you go.
That is all the time we have for today's deep dive.
We'll see you next time.
Ready to explore another fascinating topic in trading.
Until then, happy trading, everyone.